Hello everyone, my name is Kareem Awadalla. I'm an Egyptian journalist immigrated to the US like 5 years ago. I'm your guest host for only one episode, and since no one can fire me, I decided to ask all the politically incorrect questions that I have and usually Americans shy from answering. He's my controversial guest. We'll start with Anwar Khidr. Anwar is Arab, born and raised in Lebanon, and he lived in Lebanon during the Civil War. He has lots of stories to tell us. But the important part is that Anwar is Republican. He identifies as conservative. He voted for Trump and most probably will vote for him again. On the other hand, we have Scott MacArthur, born and raised in New Jersey, upper middle class American. And in his school, there was only one black kid and one Hispanic kid. You would imagine he's the definition of a white privilege, yet he's bleeding heart liberal. Lebanon before 1975 was heaven on earth.
Yes, actually was Paris of the Middle East.
Until 1975.
The Civil War started in 1970, and actually it started in 1969.
1969.
That's where the first signs of Civil War started.
In the Middle East, the conspiracy theory is consumed highly. People usually believe that the United States or Russia, they are usually colluding or plotting something. And to what extent do you think they believe the United States and Russia and the big players had something to do with that?
They do have a big role in that. They put the pressure on you, on me, on this. they were always involved.
So the United States and Russia, you believe, were involved?
They were always, and when they, came up with that treaty, the Cairo Treaty, it's in Egypt, they were very much involved. It wasn't just, the Lebanese people and the Palestinian people, it wasn't the Lebanese
Americans
government.
and Russians.
Americans.
Who do you think had more influence, Americans or Russians?
My understanding that was, the
Americans were more involved.
More influence. They on both sides, they were very pushing on it, and because Israel that was the only American ally, basically, in the Middle East for the Americans. And this is something they gave the Palestinian the authority to fight Israel from there.
Scott, as being American, you said that you're not intimate with that, but do you understand what was the reason of the Civil War?
Ostensibly, it was about religion, but everybody knows that it's never about religion, that religion is used to separate the people in order for the factions to get what they want. Like most wars, we would assume it has to do with natural resources. Anyway, whether it was the beginning of it or whether it turned into that became a proxy war between the United States and Russia.
You're a Democrat, and Democrats usually push diplomatic solutions more than wars.
Well, American policy in the Middle East was always to keep it unstable, keep the governments unstable so that we could control the oil fields. They will never say that. They will never admit that, but that has always been American policy.
How does that make you feel?
And that doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. That is American policy.
How does that make you feel as being American? How do you feel?
It's a double-edged sword because you feel philosophically you don't like it, but practically you like your lifestyle and you like the way you live in the United States, and therefore part of the way we live in the United States is because we have controlled the oil flow of the world. Therefore, if somebody has to be in control, it should be us.
I want to say that there is a slight hypocrisy in here because you are very much liberal. You fight, all the time for dreamers and DACA, and you think it's not humane to separate kids in the borders. But yet, at the same time, you were aware, and you're still aware, that the United States, as what you're saying, colludes in other countries' benefits for the sake of the United States. And this doesn't seem to be worrying you. You're kind of okay with it. So you're picking and choosing your battles.
It depends. Are you talking about the war itself, or are you talking about who controls and who gets to govern?
I'm taking it from the human rights angle now.
Right, but again,
you fight for some human rights angle.
But you're talking about during a war, during the struggle for control, there are wars. And the wars couldn't be unjust, and the wars are unjust to the human beings that are.
But you said that's not only during the wartime. You said that it's still happening up to the moment.
During a war between us and another power that is going to control that, who is less benevolent, less
so basically, if it's in the best interest of the United States, you're okay with breaching some of the human rights if it will guarantee a bigger...
But a balanced approach. It's not a black and white answer.
How did that make you feel as Lebanese when you see a foreign country affecting your day-to-day life?
It creates problems because the country is divided during the war. It was divided. The United States was sided with one side against the other. And that's what creates the problems.
So, living through the Civil War, you held the United States accountable for that.
Now when the United States won the Marines, they sent the Marines to Beirut as a peacekeeper. And all of a sudden, the Marines were sided with someone bombing the other people. They're not supposed to. This all issues, changed all the time.
You're shying away from answering my questions. While that was happening, how did you feel when you had American soldiers on the ground fighting?
Well, we didn't like what came out of it. We did agree, we did need some help. They came as peacekeepers, but it didn't happen. They didn't act as peacekeepers. And this is what they even escalated the problems in the country.
But didn't the situation that you're talking about is they went in as peacekeepers, but then were attacked? There was a huge tragedy with the Marines
actually they were attacked after. That's why they were attacked. It wasn't that just they went there as peacekeeper and someone attacked them. But because the way they acted there, they didn't act as peacekeepers, and that's why people were angry, and they created enemies there, and that's why they were attacked.
Now, I want to flip the argument, and you are very upset that Russia has something to do with the American elections, yet you admitted that the United States has its hands in every other country. Isn't that hypocritical in a way? Isn't that hypocrisy? You're okay that if you are the aggressor, but you're not okay being attacked by another country?
It might be a bit hypocritical, but yeah. But it's the first time that another country has obviously meddled in an institution that Americans hold very dear to their hearts. So it might be a little bit hypocritical, but it's the first time that it's happened to the United States, and quite frankly, I'm worried about where we're going with this.
As much as Americans are enjoying freedom of speech, Americans don't know much about the world.
Generally, I would say yes, but we also have access to other news sources than American sources. The BBC.
I guess that's the only one that's more of an international scope, but the rest of them, CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC, all of them are very localized.
Of course, I don't know if localized is the right thing. I mean, those are national networks, and they're
localized
national,
as American. They only cover American things. That's my local as
Correct.
Local American. Not
correct. News in any country is propaganda for the controlling party, isn't it?
It depends on the country, but
of course not. But again, but there are degrees. It's not completely in the pocket of the government and promoting governmental policies. But yes, there is a bit of that. There is a bent towards supporting American policy. Yes.
Regardless of what channel, because you have different approaches in CNN or NBC versus Fox, for instance, they do cover things totally opposite directions. You would imagine.
Not when it comes to international news. When it comes to international issues, they're pretty.
They are on one direction.
American policy is pretty much American policy.
Growing up in the Middle East, like myself, we are used to watching more international news. We know what's happening in the world, I would say, more than it is for Americans. What do you think? Do you agree with me on that?
I do agree. Yeah, we always watch the world news. We cover our news stations covers everywhere. International, and they really do cover everything, everything all over the world, especially United States, Europe.
But does it cover it? But it covers it based on whoever is in power. It covers
Depends
the
on the
side of it by
channel, I would
whoever is
say.
in power.
Again, there are different channels.
And I don't want to call it pure propaganda, but it's propaganda.
No. I mean, there are different channels, different directions channels. There are, of course, like here, same thing, but they do cover the international issues, Even in the United States, if you have issues, you are on the local side here, you have issues, you are discussing this, we'll see it, we'll watch it, we'll see what's going on, regardless of the station's opinion, but it's being covered.
In our region, even the propaganda channels that belongs to the government still covers all international news. Here comes a politically incorrect question. You are Arab and you voted for Trump and you still support him. Trump has not really been friendly with Arabs, so
no.
How do you see that?
I don't take everything from that side, from being an Arab or Lebanese, I mean, now I live in the United States. I've been here for 30 years. So not every decision I make or I think of comes from that part.
So you feel like you're now
I'm
integrated in the society?
I'm related, I belong, I feel like I belong. I've been here 30 years. I had opportunities, to...
Why did you vote for Trump? Why do you think he's a good president?
Well,
Why do you still support him?
As I said, I'm not a political analyst, but...
Tell me from your point of view.
My point of view is, I think this country needed a change, needed a major change. We've been saying, this for a long time, and we've been seeing all this along, nothing changed, nothing like major change, I mean, we're going from one presidency to another, from Democrat to Republican. So we were in the same circle, basically. That's how I feel.
Do you think being Arab, it makes you less of a citizen? Do you feel that this
I
is...
don't feel it, no. To be honest, I don't.
You don't think this way?
No.
Have you ever faced any racism or discrimination because you were Arab?
No.
No.
You also have to, he lives in New York.
Even though I know...
New York is a very cosmopolitan and accepting society. That's a very good point.
It didn't happen to me, but I know it did happen to other people that I know,
Why do you support Democrats?
Well, you bring up white privilege, which is very interesting, but being a Democrat, you're very inclusive. You believe that everybody deserves a seat at the table. We are not a country of one race. We're not a country of one nationality. We're a country of many. We're a country of many ideas, and everybody deserves a place at the table.
I always ask, why do you support the party you're supporting? And I have to say, usually Republicans would come with a certain clear answer, which you didn't do, by the way, but they usually say, because I want tax cuts, because I want more jobs, because I want border control. They have a certain clear answer to what they want. Democrats, on the other hand, excuse my French, don't take it personal, but they always give me this philosophical, grand Mother Teresa-like answer, because it's welcome for everyone, but they don't give me a certain issue that they are... You vote for. That's what you want. A measurable
because
issue.
It's a very complicated answer. It's not a simple answer. If you want to talk about,
just give me something.
If you want to talk about taxes and the differences between the Democrats and the Republicans on taxes, we can talk about that. If you want to talk about personal freedoms, if you want to talk about, I throw out another issue. But everything is there are many issues that it's a complicated question.
Angle. Now, with
Republican, I'll give you the reason that you can tell that. Republican attitude is me, me, me. Well, how does this affect me? And they don't care about anybody else. A Democrat tends to say, how does this policy affect the greater society? And so philosophically, if you want to say, why are you a Democrat? It's because the Democrats think societally.
You'll always find me on Twitter at KareemAwadalla.com. We'll have it written on the screen. So please tell me what you think of the episode. You were saying Republicans don't want to have any regulations. Now you have regulations and you're still not happy.
It's not the same thing. Regulations are rules on how you...